House to Home, presented by Remax Diamond Realty.
Hello and hafene, everybody. Welcome back to House to Home, where we tell you all the wonderful things that you can do to make sure that you get the house of your dreams, even in these very trying, very awkward times. And I guess before we talk about staying home and enjoying the home of our dreams, Liz and Gina from Remax Diamond Realty, we're still going on with our virtual background challenge. So I've got the happiest place on earth, Disneyland. But Gina, looks like you're hanging out at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue today.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good choice.
There's a lot of things going on over there.
Yeah, and well, there's also a lot of security there too. So, being secure in your home and being safe is one of the big things. But I think Liz wins this week because Liz, you're in the Taj Mahal. Is that where that is?
I'm definitely. Oh, it's a beautiful place.
And you actually have been to the Taj Mahal in real life, right? Not just virtually.
Yeah, this is an actual photo of the Taj Mahal.
Oh, very nice. Okay.
Full place.
Well, maybe when the world goes back to normal, you can actually broker the deal to actually have a Guamanian on the Taj Mahal. But we'll get to that in a future episode. But as for the current moment and everything like that, what are we talking about today about the state of the real estate business on Guam?
Well, Gina and I were talking about, last week we talked about pre-qualification. And normally if someone goes to the bank, they go through the qualification process to see what they actually qualify for a loan. And of course, they have to provide a number of documentation. They run also a credit check just to see what their credit score would be. And in the qualification process, they would give them a letter which shows a number of information, and Gina can go over that. But sometimes people don't pay attention, and all they see is the bottom line. What do you qualify for? So Jason, if you qualify for 400,000, and some people get so excited, they look at it, they look at the 400,000, and then they start to call the agents, hey, I qualify for 400,000. And then we start to look for a house that fits their budget. Some people don't want to spend 400,000, and they would say, okay, I'm willing to go at 350. Can you look for something for me? But sometimes they overlook what is on that sheet that's given to them. So there's a number of expenses that are written on that sheet that it's really critical that they pay attention to it. And sometimes they don't. So Gina, you may want to point out what is on that list that people sometimes don't notice. And then by the time they write up their offer, you can't back out, and the process of the purchase cannot move forward because they overlook some items that is critical in the buying process.
Yes, indeed. Well, let's go to our commander-in-chief. So, Madam President, what is the process of, and what are some of those line items that people most often overlook?
Well, so when our customers come to us with these pre-qualification sheets, or maybe they're already pre-approved, the things we're concerned about is, number one, did the loan officer go over it with you, and did they explain what it will cost you to get this loan? And a lot of people are surprised when we ask them that critical question, do you know what it's going to cost you to get this mortgage? And they're like, well, what do you mean? I mean, for a lot of the people that we've been working with are doing the VA loan or maybe the rural development loan, and those loans are 100% financing, and they have the misunderstanding that it's 100% financing, and that is 100%. It is for the purchase of the home, but a bank will charge you fees to give you that loan. So that's what it's going to cost you. You're basically buying the loan, and this is what it's going to cost. So if you look on your pre-qualification statement, it's going to tell you what the total closing cost is going to be. It's somewhere towards the bottom of that sheet, and it'll say POC or paid out. It's paid out of escrow, right? And that's your closing costs, and that includes escrow. It includes bank fees, but that's what you have to pay in order to get that loan, and it's on the same document. The other thing that people sometimes are surprised, and it surprises me that they don't, that the loan, that they didn't go over this with the lender, or they didn't notice it, or maybe they did, but sometimes, we go through this information so quickly that it's overwhelming for our consumers. But the other thing that's critical is, say for instance, Jace, you qualified for $400,000, and then the loan officer will say, well, here's your monthly payment. And it's there, but you're not really focused on it, because what you're focused on is, well, how much house can I buy? I can buy a house for $400,000. Well, now your monthly is about $1,900 a month. And I've had, so when I point that out to the customer, well, you're going to be paying about $1,900 a month. And I always ask, what are you paying now? Because you're renting now, and that's your comfort zone right now. And then we have that discussion. And sometimes people have said, wow, I don't want to pay that much. I don't think I'd be comfortable. And so, that's a completely different conversation. But we always, Liz and I always make an effort to go over those numbers with them, because it's important. That's what you're going to live with for 30 years of your life. Okay,
well, let's go back to Northern India and Liz for our final question. So, man, that is a really nice picture. You shot that yourself.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
You definitely win. I tried to go Disneyland, but you completely won this round. So tune in next week, everybody, for round 3 of Who's Got the Best Virtual Background right here on House to Home. So, okay, so final question to you, Liz. What are some of the big, you said there's a misunderstanding, but if people have a tendency to overshoot or, or overvalue how much they pre-qualify for, that's incumbent upon the realtor to try and set them straight, right? And that's what you work with them with.
Well, as realtors, we have a better understanding of what's needed. So I always ask questions like, just because you have that qualification sheet that says 400,000, it's also subject to all the information, because sometimes when they go into the bank, they don't tell them, I have this other loan, I co-signed for someone, I did this, I did that. So by the time they go back with a purchase offer or they bought a car, it screws up your credit score. So if you've done something at that point, it does affect your credit score, and then it does affect your buying ability. So it brings down what you can purchase. So people overlook that those are important factors as well. So there's a number of things we advise them. We always tell them, don't buy anything prior to closing your loan. Did you pull your credit score? Because sometimes we tell people you could check your credit score. There's a freebie that you could check your credit score just to see how much, whether you could pass the muster, because that is an important requirement as well in getting your loan. So there's a number of things that we as agents are familiar with. So sometimes we're overload with information, but we do that so that I try to avoid problems once you get into the offer process. So, that's our job, and we love what we do. So we try to help so that through the buying process, it's painless as possible for the buyer.
All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much again for your insight and your knowledge on this perspective of pre-qualification. And, it's probably one of the most fundamental things of making any sort of deal is make sure you read the fine print if it is there.
That's right.
Okay. So thanks a lot, ladies. I'll see you next week, and we will see you somewhere else in the world. I know I'll be on Guam, but we'll take another trip around the world as we continue our fascinating discussion of real estate and of who's got the best virtual background. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Jace.
Thank you.
House to Home, presented by RE/MAX Diamond Realty.